Here comes the money. You're now listening to the Gambling with Gold podcast with Jason Gold. Presented by Champions Round.
Hello and welcome to Gambling with Gold. My name is Jason Gold, and as always, I am joined by my buddy from the Action Network, Dan Titus. Dan, how are we doing this Friday?
Doing great, man. It's freaking Halloween weekend. About to get a little spooky with some of these picks. Had a great Thursday night freaking victory, man. I know you had a lot on the Packers. It was a very fruitful evening for you, and I know we were touting the Packers very early on in the week. We called it on Tuesday, and great to see that come to fruition, man.
Yeah, that was an awesome victory by the Packers. Not all that surprising that the Packers defense was able to slow down Arizona on that short week. But given the way that the game ended, I had Packers plus 6.5. I had Packers money line. I thought 6.5 was always going to be good. Money line was just a little bonus on top. But my biggest bet was under 50.5. So first half, feeling great. No one's scoring. I knew the second half would be more scoring, whatever. So we get down. 3 minutes left. Packers are driving to put away the game. Totals at 45. I'm like, okay, kick a field goal. Then even if Arizona kicks a field goal, and then we go to overtime, I actually think that I had bought it to 51. This is why I was excited about this. So we get to overtime. They kick a field goal. I push it 51. Great. They score a touchdown. I'm dead. They're on the 1 yard line. Aaron Jones gets the touchdown. Okay, bet's dead. Gets called back. They don't score. Arizona goes all the way down the field. They look like they're going to score a touchdown, break the under.
Unbelievable.
Somehow they pick off that ball. AJ Green saw his bookie in the third row and decided not to turn around to catch that pass. And I go home fat and happy on my under 51. It was a great Thursday night. It was a great game, even though there wasn't a ton of points. Packers are the real deal. And at some point, the Cards are really good. Like, I feel like they're going to be here at the end. But the luck had to run out for them at some point. They were just getting luck through 7 weeks of the season. So, yeah, a little regression there, but I expect to see them deep into January and February.
Definitely. And you got to, there's definitely some factor of D-Hop not being able to give anything after that 55-yard catch and the touchdown, which, I mean, are we really still calling that face mask? Like, I guess it was, but like, that was nasty. I mean, I don't know. But yeah, so he was hobbled the rest of the game, so they didn't really have him as a weapon. Kyler didn't really get going into the fourth quarter. Like the Green Bay defense was great. So yeah, I think it's just a testament to Green Bay's preparation. Like they were ready. Aaron Rodgers said at the end of the game, like he always takes those underdog, opportunities very seriously, and they rallied without Devontae Adams and Allen Lazard, and losing Robert Tonyan probably for the season with the torn ACL. Definitely for the season with a torn ACL. So a couple blows on their side of the ball, but I mean, that was a big victory for now their first place in the NFC.
Yeah, anytime you get Rodgers as a 6.5 point dog where he feels like it's him against the world, like we talked about a little bit on Tuesday, but those are the spots like you got to smash Rodgers in those. He's awesome there. Totally
agree.
So let's move on to this week, our week 8 gambling slate, our best bets. This is episode 26, in case y'all have been listening the whole way through. Dan, let's start off with your number one bet of the week.
So, been eyeing some trends lately, and I got to shout out my boy, Brandon Anderson at Action Network, because he wrote a really good article about this. But road dogs under a touchdown this year are covering the spread at a rate of 71% this season, and they're 30-12 against the spread. So, crazy, crazy numbers here. And while you can't take that all for granted, there are 6 games that fall into this threshold this week. The first one was the Packers and the Arizona Cardinals, which worked out really well for the Packers. So my first best bet, man, I talked about a little bit on Tuesday. I'm going with the Steelers +4 against the Browns. To me, this is a great spot for the Steelers, considering that Cleveland, we don't know that we're going to see Baker Mayfield out there. He talked to the press yesterday, I believe, said he's not going to risk any kind of long-term chances that this could be a risk of re-injury, because he did tear his labrum in his non-throwing shoulder. So it's a serious injury. So if we see Case Keenum again, they might keep it interesting, but I don't know, man. I just wouldn't mess with the Steelers coming off of a bye. Mike Tomlin is 67% cover rate as an underdog. And Big Ben, just honestly owns the Cleveland Browns. He's 23-2-1 in his career versus Cleveland. Hasn't lost in 7 years. So just given the state of the Browns, yeah, they're getting Nick Chubb back, but it's not going to be enough. I think the Steelers are having a really good chance here to actually climb up the division. Right now, they're 3-3. If they beat the Browns here, they'll be tied with them in the division. But since they have the tiebreaker and beating them for the first time this season, they'll actually climb with them in the standings. So I think this is a great chance for the Pittsburgh Steelers to actually make a run for it here. So I think this is the great start to them after the bye.
Is there any concern after what you saw last time from the Steelers against the Seahawks rushing defense that Nick Chubb just goes absolutely crazy and they're playing from behind the entire game, which is not where you want to see Ben Roethlisberger playing from?
Yeah, it's a good point. I think it's great that Nick Chubb got an extra week of rest. It's being that they did play on Thursday night and they got Dearness Johnson to carry the workload. But I don't know that he's 100% healthy here. I think he's coming back because they need him. But I'm not too concerned. I mean, I think that they're going to make their adjustments. There could be some opportunities for Nick Chubb to break out a couple of big runs, but not having Kareem Hunt there is certainly going to matter. Definitely less explosive of a rush attack, but yeah, I think the Steelers are going to be able to keep it close here. And Big Ben doesn't need to throw 40 yards down the field to be effective. I mean, we've seen it. You know, his yards per completion are a joke at this point, but I think he's got enough weapons to get it done.
And the other part that I had here that would be a concern to me is obviously you got to account for Myles Garrett all over the place. Yeah. But the Steelers' offensive line, we know the issues there. If Ben's into a situation where Myles is, up his ass the entire game, just the turnover situation, from my perspective, would be worrisome. I think that I was going to make Cleveland. I think they ended up 6th on my list. Cleveland at -3.5. I don't like it at 4 as much, given how much 4 has been landing this season. But I don't. The Tomlin angle, if you're going to be on the Steelers, is definitely has to be your reason. Like he's a magician as an underdog in division against the Browns. Like you're 100% correct on all of those. I totally get that angle. My concern is obviously that Nick Chubb is just going to run all up. Ben's not going to have him to not going to be able to do anything because Myles Garrett is going to be living in the backfield. So that's kind of my take, but I don't hate Steelers +4, I guess. Would not be.
I'm riding. This is going to be a whole lot of road dogs for me. I don't know if you remember wrestling. Road dog Jesse James from DX back in the day.
Hell yeah. All right, my number one pick. Now, I picked this in circa at +1.5, but I will play it all the way up to -3 if Dak isn't playing, which looks like he may not on Sunday Night Football. I will take the Minnesota Vikings, so anywhere -3 and lower. If Dak isn't playing, this is an obvious smash spot. We get it. The concern is Kirk Cousins prime time, but he looked really good. I'm hoping that the Vikings will open up the offense a little bit more and not play scared when they have a lead. I think that this Vikings defense can do some good things against the Dallas offense. And the Dallas defense is definitely due for some serious turnover regression. They are not playing as well as their stats would indicate. I have a feeling that the Minnesota Vikings are going to put a lot of points up on the board. So give me the Vikings -3 or less.
Yeah, Cousins 1-7 against the spread against teams coming off of a bye. But sure, if there's no Dak Prescott in this equation, that's going to change the landscape of it a bit. I don't know, though. You'd be surprised. I don't know. I feel like the line hasn't adjusted enough the line moved more for Devontae Adams than it did for Dak Prescott. So, I'm kind of like.
Let's remember, this opened at +2.5. It's currently sitting at 3, and Dak hasn't officially been ruled out yet. So I anticipate that when Dak is ruled out, it'll cross 3. It'll probably be at 4. So now you're talking about 6.5 points of total line movement, which is probably about right. That's probably about what he's worth.
Yeah, agreed. So I think now if you're going to buy Dallas, wait. I'm probably going to stay away just because I just don't trust Kirk Cousins in prime time.
That's fair.
When the moment's on him, the spotlight is shining. It is not Kirk Cousins' time. But I don't know. We'll see.
We have talked at length about how we love gross bets. Well, 1-7 against teams off buys and Kirk Cousins in primetime. I am going fully against trends here, and I fucking love it. Let's do it. Kirk Cousins to the moon. Let's make that my number one bet. Dan, what's your number 2 this week?
Yeah, I'm sticking with the road dogs, man. Going to the Patriots +5.5 against the Chargers. The Chargers are last in the NFL in rushing yards allowed per game, 162.5. That's like exactly what Bill Belichick wants to do, is run the ball down your throat and rely on the defense. Brand Staley is coming off of a bye week, so the concern that I have is that I haven't seen much adjustments from the Chargers on the defensive side of the ball. So they usually run two high safeties, let you beat them with these short intermediate throws, no big plays. If they're going to want to beat the New England Patriots, they're going to have to stack the box, bring the safeties up, and take some risks and potentially leave some vulnerabilities in the secondary there, because if they let them run the ball, they're going to control the clock, and they have no problem just letting Damian Harris, run probably upwards of 20 times, factor in Brandon Bolden a little bit there, maybe Ramondre Stevenson if he's going to be active. This is a positive game script at 5.5 points. Bill Belichick, 28-14-2 against the spread as an underdog. I'll take these veteran coaches to scheme up ways to beat these young bucks in these situations. So yeah, taking the Patriots 5.5.
Patriots at 5.5, really good number there. I bet the Chargers at -4. I don't feel great about it. It was a small bet, but my reasoning for betting on the Chargers in this situation was a couple of things. One, I think that Staley off of a bye is going to be really interesting. As a guy who dives deep into the analytics, I think that's
what I'm wondering. Is he going to make those adjustments? You got to figure that he would, right?
I'm not sure defensively if he has the guys to make those adjustments. Maybe a little bit. I think it's more going to be on the offensive side of the ball, where they're going to increase the length that they're throwing down the field early, so that they don't have to depend on these 3rd and 4th downs. Something that he talked about, something that a lot of really, really smart analytics people have talked about, like Warren Sharp. They need to throw the ball down the field really early. 1st down, 2nd down with Justin Herbert and their wide receivers. Concern for the Chargers is obviously Eckler may or may not play here. The game script, obviously, New England's going to be able to run the ball regardless of what Brandon Staley has done. They're going to run the ball. Another problem that I have here is that you're buying the Patriots at their high, you're not going to get more value than you are on the Patriots than right now. They're hot in the streets. They just come off of a huge win. This is a team that's only beaten the Jets twice and Houston once this season. Now, they've kept it close with some other really good teams.
I mean, they kept it real close with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, though.
And Dallas, to be fair. But they've only beaten 3 teams.
It's true. They have. But I just need them to cover. I don't need them to win outright. Just cover.
This is true. I think ultimately, other than my little bit that I put on the Chargers -4, I'll probably stay away from this one. There are really good arguments to be made on both sides of this game. Usually when that happens, take your hands off the gas, step away. You don't need to bet every game, every week, unless you're me, and then you already do. Whatever. I totally get the game script part, and I definitely think that will be a concern. I think that one of the things that I heard on another podcast was, if you want to bet New England and you think that the game script is going to be positive for them, bet the +3 first half. I actually think it was really smart. I think that I think you should add that onto yours. Your number 2 is 2 parts, +3 first half. And yeah, absolutely. I like that. All right, my number 2 is a line that has also jumped a lot. I bet it at +1 and money line. It is currently at 2.5. I still like the number. Indianapolis -2.5 at home against the Tennessee Titans. Titans, you are not going to get to bet them a whole lot coming off of 2 giant wins. This is a giant letdown spot. If they had lost one of those games, this was a really important game for the division. Now it's not as much. Indianapolis has owned Tennessee in Indianapolis. The Colts are getting it right. Frank Reich has Carson Wentz in a really good spot. That defense for Indianapolis might be the best unit in the entire league at this point. They're playing really great.
Yeah.
Julio's out. I think that the Colts are going to be able to run the ball with Jonathan Taylor very effectively against the Titans. Half at home, man. They play really well at home. The dome is really important for them. I think that they get this done. I think that they end up winning this game by about 10 points and taking down the Tennessee Titans.
We finally agree. I also am on the Colts now. I've seen the light since Tuesday. Not buying. Nice. I think this is certainly a great letdown spot. And just listening to a few different podcasts and the momentum that's building here, and actually really just the play of Carson Wentz and what he's done this season's actually closer to what he did 2 or 3 years ago before injury, which is like pretty much him at his peak form. And with the defense behind him, that's the only thing that he always lacked was, having a consistent defense to kind of make up for the mistakes that he would always make. And I think that they can do that now. The question is that if they do go up, this is another first half opportunity for me because I think the Tennessee Titans always start slow. So you could see the Colts possibly get out to an early lead. And then, maybe if the Titans can't make that comeback, because honestly, the line hasn't moved much since the news of Julio being out. But without Julio there, that's definitely a deficiency for the Titans offense. So we already seen Tannehill kind of not be as advertised as he was in previous years. So one less weapon. I'm leaning to the Colts here.
Yeah, one of the other things that jumped out to me was I was going through my Pythag, and the Colts are 5th in differential. So Detroit, New England, Seattle, Buffalo, Indianapolis. You would expect them to have more wins than they actually do based on their point differential. So I like Indianapolis to continue rolling here for a little bit. All right, let's move over to your number 3 pick of week 8.
Road dogs, Saints. Actually, this isn't a road dog, but Saints plus 4.5 versus the Bucks. The Bucks have got to slow down. It's similar to what we saw with the Arizona Cardinals. And I think it's going to come in this divisional matchup, man. No AB. He's going to be missing multiple weeks. But really what I'm excited about is, the Saints. I think there's going to be some boosted energy there with Mark Ingram back in the building. Jameis Winston pulled out a victory. Surprisingly, he's 18-10-1 against the spread of more than a field goal, covering 64% of the time. So I don't know. I don't love Jameis Winston. And let's not to say that this couldn't just go off the rails and he fucking blows this. But I got to feel like he's got a little bit of extra motivation here, formerly being on the Bucks, having a chance to stick it to Bruce Arians. And I think that with that rush defense, they're really going to keep Leonard Fournette at bay, which I think has been a saving grace to the Bucks that they've actually had competent running backs there, because usually that's been a carousel. But I think this is a good spot for the Saints to kind of get right here. They haven't been playing particularly well. But I think this is going to be a really nice matchup for them. At 4.5 points, I think they can cover this.
All right, my number 3 pick is also the New Orleans Saints. I have them at +5, so let's go ahead and get that one on the board. Yes, sir. I have a lot of the same reasons that you do, and on top of that, the Saints absolutely dominated the Buccaneers in 3 matchups last year. I know that they lost the playoff one, but they were leading, I think, 20-13, driving down. Drew Brees, dumb turnover, and they could have been up 27-13, 23-13, go ahead and win that game. They could have ended up winning the Super Bowl, even with Drew Brees' noodle arm out there. I think that this coaching staff of the Saints has the number of Bruce Arians in that offense. I think they're going to be able to get this done and cover 5 at home. I do agree with the extra juice with Mark Ingram is going to be awesome to see down in New Orleans. I think this is going to be a low-scoring game. I will take the under. Where is it on the board right now? The under is 50. I'll take the under here. And I also think that there's a giant disadvantage. We know that you're going to have trouble running against this Buccaneers front, but their linebackers are horrendous at covering running backs coming out of the backfield. And there is no one better than Alvin Kamara doing that. I think that even though they're going to have Levante David back a little bit, I think that they're going to be stuck with Devin White trying to get against Kamara. He's going to get cooked in that matchup. I think Kamara's going to have a big day coming out of the backfield receiving. And I think that's enough to keep New Orleans in this game to cover the +4.5 or the +5. So I'm with you, Danny boy. Let's double down on this one.
Hell yeah, let's do it. I like it.
All right, what's your number 4 this week?
Number 4, Seattle -3 over the Jags. Geno Smith has surprisingly covered the last 2 games by a field goal and 3 points. Yet again, I think that the Seattle Seahawks are just a better team. Their secondary has still been an issue, but their run defense has gotten a bit better. So, the only consistency that we've seen out of the Jags is that James Robinson is a pretty good running back, probably worthy of being drafted at one point. But I don't know that the Jags, even coming off of a bye, are going to make enough adjustments to beat Seattle here. And I don't know. I just don't have. This is still just riding pretty much against the same confidence that we had in eventually Cliff Kingsbury losing a game. I have the same confidence in Urban Meyer just not getting anywhere further than one victory. So, I'm going to back the Seattle Seahawks here. This one isn't more of a handicap. It's more of just the Jags suck. And I think Geno can still get it done with 3 points.
All right. Where do you land on the over under 44.5 in that matchup?
That's interesting. I wasn't looking at the over under, but 44.5 seems actually attainable. I'll take the over on that, actually.
Yeah, that's what I was hoping you were saying, because I feel like the inclination from the public here is going to be, oh, Seattle only put up 10 points. Oh, the Jaguars suck offensively. let's go the under 44.5. I'm completely the other way here. I think that the Seahawks are going to be able to score against this very poor Jacksonville defense. Jacksonville offense showed me some things against Miami. I think they're going to be able to throw the ball a little bit against the Seattle defense. So over 44.5, I kind of like that. Kind of like it.
Sounds gross in theory, so I think we're
that's
perfect.
The
right path
it's
there.
Perfect. It's exactly what we should be doing. Oh, speaking of getting gross, Danny boy, Jets plus 10.5 with a guy named Mike White at quarterback, who I didn't know was a human being until next week. Let's do it. Going against the Cincinnati Bengals that are coming off of a huge win against the Baltimore Ravens.
Jesus.
It does not get uglier than this, my friend. It does not. I will make my case now. This has a lot to do with the look-ahead line. The look-ahead line before the season was pick'em. Last week going into the game, it was 3.5. Now it's 10.5. So you're saying that because Cincinnati beat Baltimore and because Zach Wilson's out, who's been the worst quarterback in the NFL this season, to some guy named Mike White, whatever, you're saying that's a 7-point difference? Yeah, right. This line should be 7.5. There should be 2 points for Zach Wilson, and it should be, 2 points for the win versus the Ravens. The fact that this went up 7, I just can't get around it. 10.5 is way too much for an NFL team. I think that Saleh will do a decent enough job slowing down the Cincinnati offense. The Jets, all you got to do is score like 10 points. I don't care. 20-10 gets me the win. I'll be more than happy with that. I understand that the Bengals are riding high. They're really good. But the fact that they're riding high feels like a perfect letdown spot. What the hell do they care about traveling again, going to New York, and having to play the Jets? They don't care. They're trying to get healthy out of this game. Put up a W, move on, continue to be first place in the AFC. And you're not trying to blow anyone out or prove a point against the goddamn Jets and Mike White. Just get out of there with a win. Let me have my plus 10.5. Let's go.
Yeah, I was between. There's like 3 games for my last bet that I was between. It was this one, the Rams in Houston, but I'm still waiting on the Tyrod news, and then the Bills and the Miami Dolphins, which I think you've talked me off the ledge. Now that is now creeped up to like 14 points. Yeah, I believe it was like 12.5 when we were talking about it on Tuesday. I'm staying away from all those, and
it's gross, man.
I can't lay this one down. I was gonna go Bengals 10.5, but I ultimately decide not to bet it. But I'm not mad at you for taking the leap of faith in Mike White. I have no idea who the hell Mike White is, where the hell he came from. Dude, I've been looking for him in my dynasty leagues, and I'm like, who the fuck? Like, no one even had him as a backup. Gee, I wonder why, because no one knew who the hell this guy was. Literally got him off the street. So they don't have much to lose, man. And to be honest, you're right. They weren't getting great quarterback play out of Zach Wilson anyway. So why the hell not? Why not Mike White? Right. So yeah. I will support you in this. I might sprinkle something small on it.
Yeah.
Just to kind of play with you in this gross territory. But this is the epitome of gross. This is new levels of gross.
Look, there might be better podcasts out there. There might be better analysts, but no one does grosser bets better than we do. No one.
This is disgusting.
I love it. All right. What is I guess we're on your 5th. What's your last pick of the week?
Yeah, so my last pick of the week, as I said, I was between a few different ones, but in the theme of going my road dogs, I'm going Washington +3 over the Broncos. The Broncos lost 4 straight. They're just trending in the wrong direction here. They're getting Jerry Jeudy back. Not really sure if that's going to make a huge difference or not, but Washington actually played the Chiefs pretty well. They've been competent against decent teams, and then they've kind of floundered against other ones, but obviously they played well against the Chargers early in the season. But I don't know, the defense during this 4-game losing streak of the Broncos, 29th in EPA defensively, they're just not good. And Tyler Heinicke, I feel like, even though he's made some mistakes late in the games, he seems to be getting a little bit more comfortability in this offense. Antonio Gibson is now deemed healthy. I don't know what that means when you still have a stress fracture in your leg, but whatever. I think that this team is going to figure out a way to get within 3 points here. I would like a little bit of a hook at 3.5. Not going to get that, but I'm pretty confident. I don't know. I think Washington's going to finally figure out how to get a victory here against a team that's definitely on the decline, which is the Denver Broncos, after getting, pretty much 3 easy victories against really shitty teams.
Yeah, I completely support anything that goes against the Denver Broncos. My biggest bet before the season was their under 8.5 win total for the season. I definitely see this as a team that's in regression, even though they have Judy coming back. I think that Washington has enough to get this done. I like what Heinicke has been doing on the ground with his feet. This is a team that just lost to Case Keenum. Like, Denver has nothing really going on. Their defense is actually a little bit worse than people think. Washington's defense may be getting a hair better. At least that's what I'm hoping for. The whole issue here is, how do they play at Mile High? Like, they could just get gassed out. I'm not 100% sure here. So probably a little bit of a stay away for me. But if I get that 3.5, if I see that hook, oh boy, I'm all in on Washington.
I dig it. So what's your final play?
Well, I thought I was going to go Cleveland. They ended up 6th. I could go super gross, but the one that I really wanted, that I had written down, is now off the board because Tyrod Taylor is not starting. So
wow! Did that news just drop today? I missed that.
Yeah, he is not starting. I would have taken Houston plus 14.5 as my 5th pick. I would have loved that with Tyrod, but I am not doing that with Davis Mills. So let's make something live up on the spot. It doesn't get grosser than Sam Darnold right now. Let's go Carolina. Carolina Jesus. Plus 3 at Atlanta. I just think that the Panthers, I think they're undervalued right now. If you would have given me this line 2 weeks ago, they would have been favored in Atlanta. Atlanta, we saw versus Miami. They let anyone throw on them. Tua had 4 touchdowns. He had 4 touchdowns. And I know that you said last week, and you were pretty spot on, that we thought that Atlanta's offense was going to get better coming out of the bye, which they definitely did. They did. But it was also Miami. I think that Carolina's offense, if there's a get-right spot for Carolina's offense, it is this week against Atlanta. I think this will probably be a higher scoring game than people think. So over 47, probably a decent bet. And I think that covering the plus 3 and winning outright, Carolina can do it. I'm not saying this is my favorite bet of the week. I'm saying this is a lean. I will probably put not that much money on it, but I will definitely bet the plus 140 right now, money line. Don't feel great about it, Dan, but it is what it is.
Either. What do you think the chances of Sam Darnold getting benched for real this time? Where would you put the odds at?
Like benched and then he loses his job after this week, or just hits the pine at some point during this game?
Let's go hits the pine at some point in this game.
Plus 250 because it's because it's the Falcons. If it was a good defense, I think it might come sooner. Against Atlanta, I actually expect him to have some success. His chances of losing the job after this week, 9-1.
It's fair. I think those are both fair numbers. I just don't. That's why I can't back Carolina here. Is just that I don't trust Sam Darnold anymore. Like, it started out so great, much like the Denver Broncos, and then it's just tanked week over week. And you're getting benched for an XFL player.
Hey, don't talk bad on PJ.
He was nasty. PJ was good. PJ was good. And it's almost to the point where it's like, I wouldn't be surprised if Carolina's making the calls to Deshaun Watson right now, but the only problem is he has a no-trade clause to Miami. So, but yeah, they got to do something. And I don't know where you're going to get the faith back in Sam Darnold, but like he's starting to look a lot like Carson Wentz when he lost his mojo, and he just can't complete passes, holding on to the ball for too long. When he does run, he almost gets himself killed. Yeah, it's not looking too great for Carolina here, but I respect your grossness.
I respect my gross. That's a great line. I might need to put that on a t-shirt. All right, let's you got any other bets over unders that you're kind of targeting here, or player props?
Player props that I love. Leonard Fournette under. Let me see what the last rushing total that I had for him was. It was 54.5. I'm taking the under on it because I just don't think that he's going to find any rushing room against the New Orleans Saints here. If the Saints can jump out to some kind of a lead, abandon the run, it's going to be a lot of Tom Brady trying to throw to Chris Godwin and Mike Evans. So I'm going to go under on Leonard Fournette's player prop rushing yards. He's been great, but yeah, I think this is where we kind of see some regression as a whole. And what you talked about, with this game potentially going under, I think we could see a kind of a dogfight here of a divisional matchup.
All right. I like it. I have 3 over-unders that I haven't talked about yet. Indy, Tennessee, under 51.5. Bet that earlier in the week. Looks like it's at 51 right now. Just think it'll be kind of a slower paced game. You're going to get a lot of running game between JT and Derrick Henry. Usually slows the pace down, so I think under 51 there. Philly, Detroit, over 48. Both these defenses stink. You saw what the Eagles did last week. I expect Jared Goff to
both teams stink. We don't even need to specify the defense or the offense. They're both trash.
Good point. I expect Jared Goff to have a pretty good game here. So over 48 there. New England Chargers, this game got streamed up on the over, which is a little curious given the fact that I think that the Patriots are going to try and run the clock down. So it got up to 49. I like the under 49 here. Looked like it opened at 46.5, 47 and got bet up by a couple sharp groups. So 48, kind of a key number. I'll take the under 49 here with that one. They're probably like basically anything over on the Kenny Gainwell receiving against the Lions. I think I saw it at 3.5. I'll bet that over. Longest reception, I'll bet over. Most receiving yards or total receiving yards, I'll bet that over too. That's kind of what I'm looking at for the player props.
Got one more. Jalen Hurts over 44.5 rushing yards. That's gonna be the most effectiveness. He's been his most effective when he's been running the ball. So I think he'll get back to that.
All right, let's run through all the games that we did not talk about. We'll do some quick hitters on which side you like here. Miami, Buffalo 14, over under 48.5.
Give me Buffalo 14.5 over.
All right. Philly, Detroit. Detroit plus 3.5 at home, over under 48. We talked about the over under. What do you think about the side?
I recuse myself as an Eagles fan. I will stay away. I will stay away from this game, and I will respect the over.
I feel like everybody this week has been Detroit has to get a win at some point. They're trying so hard. You saw what they did to the Rams in the first half. Kitchen sinks all over the place. Give me the Birds. Give me the Birds. I think they get this done. I don't think the Birds are as bad as they showed last week. Yeah.
Thank you for your support.
Rams currently minus 16 at Houston. Davis Mills starting for Houston, over under 46.5.
Oh, how many points are the Texans going to score here? Mark Ingram got traded.
Somewhere between 10 and 17.
I feel like 10 sounds right. Give me the under here. Give me the under and the Rams by, was it 16.5? 16,
yeah.
Yeah, I'll take the Rams.
Okay. Yeah, I don't feel great about either side. I really wanted to bet Houston in this game, but no Tyrod. That takes that out. Don't have an opinion on over 46.5. Would lean under. I did see Cooper Kupp's receiving yards was put up at 97.5. That is outrageously high. I like the under there, actually.
I feel that. That's a crazy prop for a receiver. 97 yards. Jeez. That's like Derrick Henry yards there. That's nuts.
We did not talk about San Francisco and Chicago. San Francisco -4 at Chicago. Over under grossness, 39.5.
Ugh. Yeah, stay away from this game. Is Trey Lance going to start? We don't know yet. I don't think Jimmy G's been named. I don't think he's named a starter yet, right?
I think it's Jimmy G.
Is it? Oh, even worse. All right. So Elijah Mitchell is probably going to have a good game. Give me the San Francisco 49ers here. I think they'll finally get a win. That was a tough game on Monday night. They've had a little bit of time to think about it, regroup. Don't really like where the Bears are headed right now. Justin Fields doesn't look competent at all. Can't get the ball to the receivers. Khalil Herbert's look great. Shout out to VTech. Yeah. But I'm going to go with San Francisco here.
Yeah, I'm leaning towards San Francisco too, but I probably won't bet it because I'm scared of Chicago at home. Does look like they're going to be without Mac. So maybe some defensive issues for them. Maybe that makes me want to bet the over 39.5. I anticipate that San Francisco's running game will be pretty effective in this game. So
right.
Maybe I'll put the 49ers in like a money line round robin parlay or something like that. That sounds like a nice little bet. Last one we have on the board, Monday Night Football, Giants at Chiefs. Chiefs -10, over under 52. What do you got?
I've been so positive towards the Chiefs here, expecting them to come through. Danny Dimes, though, Give me the 10. Give me the Chiefs 10. I think that it's just going so bad for them that it's got to get right at some point.
I am very torn in this game. On one hand, the underdog and Danny Dimes on the road is exactly the spot that you want to buy in on that man. However, I've never seen Patrick Mahomes in this desperate of a situation, and I am scared of what you do to Patrick Mahomes when you put him in a corner. This might be a 60 burger. I have no idea. I literally don't know. This is like a complete stay away from me. I can make great arguments on both sides of the ball. I am going to root for points on Monday night because why not? I'll take the over 52. Don't feel great about anything in that game, to be honest with you.
I don't either. Just looking for the fantasy value at this point with the Chiefs because every time I bet on them, it's been a huge disappointment for me. Except when I took them against the Eagles, that one was profitable. But ever since then, it's been all downhill.
All right, that does it for episode 26 of Gambling with Gold. Dan, thank you so much, and stay tuned because we're going to spin the wheel and give away this Donovan McNabb signed jersey and that little mask I was wearing on Tuesday that I have right here. Hey, let's get gross for Halloween. Just like my bets, Jason never dies, baby. Let's spin the wheel.